Mr. Beat made a video where he trapped 50 kids in a bedrock box. If you haven't watched it, in the final challenge, there were 5 contestants remaining. Each of them gets a random briefcase.
4 have nothing in it. 1 has $1 million check inside of it.
Everybody knows what they have in their own briefcase, but they don't know what everybody else has in their briefcases. They can communicate with each other, and after 10 minutes they can vote one person.
If that player's case is empty, they're eliminated. If you guys happen to vote for the player with the money, the game is over, and that YouTuber walks away with $1 million.
And also it's worth pointing out that you are allowed to vote on yourself. So according to Mr. Beast,
this is a game of bluffing and how well you can read each other. Which one of you has the best poker face?
But allow me to explain a few minor issues, like Jaiden cannot lose no matter who gets voted. So the optimal play, if you have the million, is to always vote for yourself and try to convince everyone else to also vote for you. If you don't have the briefcase with $1 million, you need to try to vote on someone who also doesn't have a briefcase and then hope that you get the million in the next round, because each round has one less player. And let's start by considering what happens if there's less players than 5. With one person, there is no game, the one person just wins. With 2 people, things get interesting, because the person with the briefcase, let's say they vote on themselves. If the other one votes on themselves, they can make a tie, and if they vote on the person with the briefcase, they lose. There's no really any way to win, because after the tie, they vote again. So from the perspective of the person who has the million, if you can't lose, eventually you will win. And I haven't seen Mr. Beast reshuffling the briefcases, so I'm assuming that they just vote again, though we haven't technically gotten to a situation like that in the game. But basically the game with 2 players makes no sense, because the one who rolls the briefcase will just always win in the end. Okay, what about 3 players? See, with 3 players, and also we once again assume that the person with the briefcase votes on themselves. If the other 2 contestants are really good at reading expressions, or just are almighty gods and knows who has the briefcase and who doesn't, they have to vote on someone who doesn't have the briefcase but isn't themselves, so they don't really have a choice. They have to vote on the other non-briefcase holder. And if both of them do that, then it's just a draw. Everybody gets 1 vote. And assuming everybody keeps playing optimally, it's just an endless stalemate. The game doesn't end, ever. The game with 3 players also makes no sense, so Mr. Beast is really lucky that he didn't get to this part, because the game ended with 4 players in his show. I'm not sure what he had planned for the 3-player version of this event, but he would have to change the rules somehow, because it just doesn't work. And with 4 players the game makes sense, but it's still heavily favored to the one with the briefcase, because they just simply cannot lose. They will either win or go to the next round, where they once again have the chance to win. So hypothetically assuming that you get the briefcase in every round, the probability is not that high, but you will just win. You can't lose. It's random. Mr. Beast wanted a game of poker, but he ended up with just a gacha game of whoever rolls the briefcase wins. But what are the odds of that happening? Getting the briefcase even twice in a row? With 5 players it's 1 in 5, and with 4 players it's 1 in 4. So if you multiply that, it's 1 in 20. That's just 5% chance. That's not gonna happen. Well, it happened. You see, it's not actually 5%. Because there's 5 people, and each of them has a chance to get the briefcase in both rounds. So if you multiply that 1 in 20 times 5, you just end up with 1 in 4. There's a 25% chance that the person who gets the briefcase in the first round also gets it in the second one. Now in the video I remember they said that, oh, Jaiden had the briefcase in the first round. There's no way she's gonna have it twice in a row, right?
Me?
Yeah, because that's just a matter of statistics, probability.
Like, statistically, I shouldn't have it again?
That's an interesting point.
But what they don't understand is that the probability of everyone having the briefcase is the same, alright? It's not in 1 in 20, it's 1 in 5. Or actually 1 in 4, because there's just 4 players in the second round, and there were 5 in the first round. What I think Mr. Beast was going for is to try to have 6 players in the final challenge, because, you know, Logan Paul was an idiot and he eliminated himself in the previous challenge, even though he was you know, progressing. He won the challenge and then he just walked out of the circle. What an idiot. And with 6 players, the game could, you know, be slightly less random. It would go for a little longer, but it still has the same issue. I'm not trying to shame anyone. Frankly, I couldn't care less who wins. I mean, I'm only hoping that Logan Paul doesn't win, and that happened, so I'm satisfied. I'm just a mathematician who has the opportunity to do math, so let me do math. And also, I'm a really big fan of the games where it's an uninformed majority versus an informed minority, which MrBeast was trying to get, but he didn't quite nail it because he ended up with something like Among Us. Where am I supposed to go here? Oh. Okay. Among Us, if you were not allowed to vote out the impostor. And I also got really annoyed when someone made this classic mathematical error by thinking that, oh, if this person had the briefcase in the first round, then they have a smaller probability of getting it in the second one. Like, no, that's not how probability works. They have the same chance as everybody else. And even though the other players were honestly not that bad, they figured out that Jaiden had the briefcase in the first round by having her say that she voted on a guy. Somebody else said that he also voted on the same guy, but that guy had only 1 vote, so it didn't add up for Jaiden to vote on them. Meaning Jaiden had to have voted on herself, which means that she has the briefcase. She didn't play it perfectly, but she also didn't need to, because it was impossible for her to lose. So to summarize, the chances of what happened were actually 25%, which isn't that low, and it's also not that high. It's a good opportunity to learn how probability actually works. Thank you for watching, like my YouTube channel and subscribe to this video or the other way. Bye!